Oh, yeah. A lot of kids. I'm sorry? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Is she cleaning up?
Yeah,
All right.
thank you. So is Milana. I've been telling. I don't know about that. We at
I'll tell
home.
you all, wait and see.
So you don't know the story. So we got a card from DJ, and we had saw the photo of the Christmas card, and Diane and I are like, "That's Milena took that." I'm like, "That's unbelievable." It was like a what you would, yeah. This is what you'd see in a Gap commercial. Yeah, yeah. I mean, at that young age, I mean, and she's going to Parsons. Yeah, yeah. I need to. We all are.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hi, good evening. I hereby announce that pursuant to the Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the notice, which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall, and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 5th, 2022. Mayor Bontempo?
Here.
Mr. Santana?
Here.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Here.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Here.
Ms. Weber?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Wendy. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the Thank you. Everyone, please remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our troops, both home and abroad, who work tirelessly to protect us each and every day. Thank you. So that was one of the best Pledge of Allegiances we've had here in many years. You guys are welcome back every meeting now going forward, okay? I'll have the clerk send you a schedule. Your parents can bring you back every week. So special recognition tonight. It's, I think this is one of the neatest things about being up here on the Township Committee is the Homedell Hornets girls 8U softball team we have with us tonight. So I have a special proclamation that I would like to read. Proclamation, the Homedell Township Committee, whereas this year, the Homedell Hornets 8U girls softball team finished their incredible season with an undefeated record in the Central Jersey League, and whereas each team member hit at least 500 for the season. That's pretty amazing, guys. I was just at the Yankee game the other day. That's pretty amazing. Whereas this team played together for less than 1 year and has already built a strong bond that has enabled them to achieve overwhelming success, and whereas the team ultimately went on to win the Central New Jersey League Championship on June 1st, just a few days ago, 2022, whereas the players were led and supported and encouraged in their endeavors and success by their coaches, Al Seddon, John Goldblatt, Stephen Sanabria, Mark Sotaro, and Vinny Geranio. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Homedale Township Committee of the Township of Homedale on this 14th day of June, 2022, that congratulations be extended to the following: Ava Seddon, Jordana Pizzuto, Samantha Goldblatt, Winter Dokas, Emma Jakowitz, Summer Samra, Olivia Sanabria, Amelia Magui, Sonia Thacker, Serena Ashgar, Madalena Badger, Aria Sotaro, Bella Geranio, both personally and officially, on behalf of the residents of the community, for their outstanding achievements. Be further resolved, a suitably engrossed copy of this proclamation be presented to the team as a small token to which they are held. Be it further resolved that best wishes be extended for the continued success for future endeavors. So girls, can all you and the coaches come up to receive your proclamations and then stay up here for a picture that the clerk would like to take, okay? Girls, team, come on up. Good.
These are just, there's nothing for me to read.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And then we wrote something.
Guys, we're also very happy to announce tonight the winners of the Homedell Reusable Shopping Bag Design Contest. As you know, we've mentioned before, we have the two winners with us tonight, that to assist residents with the transition from the New Jersey Plastic Bag Ban, the Township Committee, in collaboration with New Jersey Clean Communities, grant will be providing these two designs, recyclable shopping bags that will be distributed to residents at events and at Town Hall beginning later this summer. And Committeeman Lucarelli, I think that maybe a great handout may be the large item drop-off, because we get so much traffic over there. As the guys come and check IDs, they may be able to hand out shopping, you know, the reusable bags. Maybe check with Victor, see if guys would be okay with that. But certainly a way to get it. So the winning designs are up on the screen right now. So the first winner is Zoe Coppola, who is a kindergarten student at Village School. Congratulations. And our second winner is Valerie Chaw, who is a third grade student at the Rainey School. Please come in front of the room with your parents to receive your certificates and take a photo with the Township Committee. Congratulations. And all the students who submitted design will be receiving a certificate in the mail recognizing their participation contest. Everybody that participated will be getting a certificate as well. Let's come on up to get a picture with the Township Committee. So we also were originally doing tonight a proclamation for the Girl Scout, but due to a conflicting issue, we're going to reschedule that for a future meeting. So we're not going to be presenting that this evening. Next up on the agenda is any public comment on agenda items on tonight's agenda. Seeing none, I'll close public comment for agenda items. First motion is for resolutions 222-167 and 222-175, consent agenda items. I have a motion.
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Impreviduto?
So, Mayor, I have something I'd like to ask about this. On here, what is this? 2022-175 appointment, the personnel appointment. First I saw of this was when the agenda came out on Friday, and I wanted to know why there was no discussion with the TC about this. I know normally, historically, if there's any type of promotion or personnel shifting, the administrator would always discuss that with the TC. And in this case, there was no conversation, there was no communication. So I think it's nice for the rest of the TC to be aware of these things, or at least to know why we're doing it. And at the least, I think we could have had an executive tonight, and you could have explained that to the rest of the members. So I'd like to know why we're doing that appointment. And I'm not questioning why we're doing it. I'm questioning why we weren't, it wasn't discussed or we weren't made aware of it.
So,
But before the mayor remarks, I just want to caution, we can't comment on the specifics of this personnel action. If you want to talk about process, I think that's okay. I know, DJ. I just want to make sure that I lay the ground rules that any discussion about the individual or the merits of their appointment, we can't touch upon that. That would need to be discussed elsewhere. But if you want to talk about process, we certainly.
yeah, I don't think there was anything unique. I'll say the process right now is, I think, the temporary we have in place is interim. Administrator is doing.
I'm keeping it cool.
Okay,
I'm just trying to
You're in
keep
order,
trying to
review me.
call balls and strikes here.
is doing an adequate job and something that I will ensure that doesn't occur going forward. So it should be included in every update regarding every change that occurs.
And again, I would ask you to have an executive session instead of canceling them, at the least, because I even would have been fine with that, having that information explained to me right before the meeting, rather than an email or just a conversation. So I think that's important. I think the entire TC, all of us duly elected members, should be involved and aware of the processes and the reasoning behind them.
Absolutely. Yep. Roll call again.
Mr. Impreviduto? Oh, sorry, Mr. Impreviduto?
For the reasons Committeeman Lucarelli outlined, I'm going to abstain from this vote. If we're 5 equal members, I think all 5 should be involved in these discussions on the go forward. I appreciate your desire to do so, but I must abstain on this one.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
So 2022-167 to 2022-175 have been successfully passed.
Next is ABC license renewal approval, 222-223 resolutions, 221-176 to 221-183.
22-183.
I'm reading off my paper.
Yes.
222-176 to 222-183. Do I have a motion?
Yes, move.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay. Resolutions 2022-176 to 2022-183 have been successfully passed.
Next is introduction of ordinances, Wendy.
Next is the introduction of 2022-23, which is a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $475,000 for improvements to Takalusa Drive in and by the Township of Homedell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of 183,500 bonds or notes of the township for financing part of the appropriation. The motion is to adopt on first reading and publish in the Asbury Park Press and set the public hearing for June 28th, 2022.
Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Again, I just have a quick question. I'm a yes, but I just wanted to ask the administrator, does this include, remember the email you sent out about the additional funds to finish that paving? Is this part of this bond?
Yes, it's going down to continue down to Centerville Road because it was supposed to stop like a block and a half, 2 blocks up. There's also a little bit of other things. We mentioned some improvements to drainage. That can be started this year, but they won't be finished until 2023 because we don't want it to settle and cause issues.
Yeah, thank you. My question was that included in this?
Yes.
Thank you, yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay. 2022-23 will be set for public hearing on June 28th, 2022.
Thank you. Next is hearings, Wendy.
Hearing on ordinance 2022-17, which is an ordinance for the adoption of the floodplain management regulations of Holmdel Township.
So hearing on ordinance 2022-17, anybody from the public? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-17 has been successfully passed and will be published in the Asbury Park Press according to law. The next ordinance is 2022-18, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic, Part 3, Regulation for the Movement and the Parking of Traffic on Municipal Property and Board of Education Property of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Homedale, Monmouth County, New Jersey.
Any public comment on 2022-18? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-18 has been successfully passed and will be published in the Asbury Park Press according to law. The next ordinance is 2022-19, which is an ordinance enacting soil/fill importation regulations.
Any public comment on 2022-19? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-19 has been successfully passed and will be published in the Asbury Park Press according to law. The next ordinance is 2022-20, which is a bond ordinance authoring various intersection improvements in and for the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, appropriating $483,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $458,850 bonds or notes to finance the cost thereof.
Any public comment on 2022-20? Yes, come on up.
Jenny Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. What is all this money to pay for?
These funds were a contribution from the Somerset Agreement for various intersections in the town. We're not sure, these are state roads and county roads. We're not sure when this is going to be actually done. So what we're doing is we're utilizing the contribution they gave us to make some repairs to Roberts Road, American Way, and Middletown Road currently, but in case the state or
So
county.
it's road stuff.
It's
Yes,
road
it's
stuff
roads.
around
Yes.
Bellworks, correct.
Okay, doesn't say that here.
Okay,
Could have been for Kleenex, I don't know.
Intersections.
yeah.
Just to be clear, the bond is being issued so that the intersections can be funded in the future, and the township intends to do the paving at this time.
Anybody else for public comment on 2022-20? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-20 has been successfully passed and will be published in the Asbury Park Press according to law. The next ordinance is 2022-21, which is an ordinance establishing Chapter 3-16 titled Armed Security Officers.
A public hearing on 2022-21. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-21 has been successfully passed and will be published in the Asbury Park Press according to law. The next ordinance is 2022-22, which is an ordinance amending Section 2-26.1 governing police department positions.
Any public comment on 2022-22? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improvisato?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-22 has been successfully passed and will be published in the Asbury Park Press according to law.
Thank you, Wendy. We'll do department updates. Administrator and CFO, any updates?
I have a couple things, Mayor. The sewer bills are due tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day to pay your sewer bill without any penalty or interest. Also, if anybody has applied for a state-administered utility assistance program, please let us know as soon as you can. We do need to know that. Also, the date of next meeting, there'll be a blood drive from 2 to 7 p.m. over at the community center. We just received the grant from the New Jersey American Water. With that, we're going to purchase 5 new helmets and 3 particulate blocking hoods for the fire department. Also, there's a Monmouth County grant that we're going to apply for, and that's for federal funding for bicycle and pedestrian right-of-ways in the town. And that's it, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Counselor, any updates?
No update. Happy to answer any questions, Mayor.
Thank you. Our engineer is not here this evening, so I have no other professional reports. We'll go right to boards and committees. Committeeman Improvisato, any updates from your department?
Yes. So there's grease trap inspections ordinance. Community Development has begun drafting a new ordinance for grease trap inspections. Since improperly maintained grease traps pose a significant hazard to the environment as well as significant costs to the township, the Community Development Department feels that it is necessary to conduct these inspections. The soil grading and excavation ordinance. Community Development is drafting an ordinance that would require the township engineer to review and approve certain residential projects involving the grading and excavation of soil. Given the slopes of Holmdel Township, conditions exist that have been creating water runoff problems for downslope neighbors due to inappropriate grading or insufficient drainage. This would not impact projects that are part of subdivisions or have a soil erosion plan submitted to freehold soil. This would impact projects exceeding 500 square feet involving soil that is being excavated or regraded. And the last but not least, identifying Homedale businesses. Community Development has initiated a program to identify each individual business located within commercial retail complexes. Currently, these developments are not coded in a way that would allow the township to identify individual commercial units within the complex. This new identification number would allow community development to track activities such as fire prevention or building department permits. The new ID number would be clearly displayed on the front and rear doors of the business. That is all I have on community development.
Thank you. Committeeman Lucarelli, any updates from your department?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. No updates from my department, but I have a few things that I would like to discuss with you tonight. The first thing is, going back some time, I met a woman from town who is a very nice lady. My wife and her sister-in-law, who passed away tragically, became friends, and she's been wanting to volunteer in town and get more involved. She had filled out the application, the online application for the Traffic Bike Safety Committee. I did send you an email in regards to this. I haven't gotten a response. I would like to make a motion tonight to appoint Ann Mohammadi to the Traffic and Bike Safety Committee. I've gotten to know this woman, and she is just one of the nicest people I've ever met. She wants to give back to the town. She wants to volunteer. She's already had meetings with Lieutenant Ackerson. She's spoken to Bob Ward in regards to just volunteering. So I would like to make a motion tonight to appoint Ann Mohammadi to the Traffic and Bike Safety Committee.
I second the motion.
You need a roll call or just affirmation to add it?
It's up to the committee.
Just affirmation. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
And Wendy has a name, correct, in the application? Okay.
The application was submitted. I don't know where that goes. Okay. Online. Okay. Thank you. Another thing, Mayor, I just wanted to bring up, and again, we didn't have an executive session tonight. I think it was appropriate to have one in regards to hiring a new administrator, and I wanted to discuss it with you tonight. Again, I sent an email. I didn't get a response, but it's been 5 weeks now since we did our initial interviews, and there's been no follow-up. And on the one applicant that we all 5 of us agreed on, and that was at least our number 1 pick. So I'd like to know when we are going to be able to do follow-up interviews and interview the 2 new applicants that we did get in. I know that it's closed now, so there's nothing else coming in. I know we did wait at your request to try and get more applications, which we did. And I'd like to know now, I feel like I don't know if, I feel like we're stalling as a committee. I don't feel like we're doing our job for the not only for the residents of this town, but for the employees of this town, and not doing our part and being more thorough and ambitious to hire an administrator. So I'd just like an update on that, please.
So round 2 of interviews will be forthcoming. Just some moving parts that will come out in a little while this evening, cause a little bit of a delay. So we'll have some dates from the clerk probably in the next day or 2 to confirm availability, and the search firm will try to coordinate with the additional candidates to see if any of those are potential contenders for the position.
And Mayor, what's the status with the candidate we all agreed upon? Have we been speaking to him or that person, or
we
we?
can't
Shouldn't
discuss it.
out here.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for that update, but I would ask that we move as quickly as we possibly can on this. Thank you. I have no further updates.
So I just want to comment on that. So I've done 4 administrator searches, and speed is not something that I am trying to do with this. I want to do it once and do it correct, because the administrator is a very important position. I want to make sure we hire the right one, because there's been some that haven't been great hires in the past, and I don't want our history to repeat itself. So I know we would love to get one immediately, but the challenges in the market that we're facing right now also weigh on the some of the issues. I don't want to say too much that we're having, but we'll discuss it in our next executive session, and I'm sure we'll have a special meeting before then to review some of the candidates and also readdress the prior ones that we met with.
Okay. Mayor, for clarification though, it's been 6 months. Well, it was 6 months since we were notified, right? And then it's been 5 since, the official resignation. It doesn't feel like it's been a speedy process to me. So I think it's time to expedite. And I think, well, I guess there are discussions that we've had, but I think it's time to expedite, especially since we have met with candidates. We have a couple more coming down the pike. I think a decision needs to be made. I think, frankly, for the morale of Town Hall, if nothing else, and for the administration of the town overall, although I do want to commend Mr. Antonides for the work he's done for us on an interim basis.
So our CFO has done an amazing job, and I'll repeat, I am not going to speak to the process, because there have been, we'll discuss in executive session. There's things I can't say publicly right now, but there's challenges that we're facing.
Well, then maybe communicating that with the rest of the TC is a good idea.
It comes in waves.
But to you, but we're not
No,
getting
no,
any of the
no,
waves.
No, it's not just to me. It's not just to me. It's the team is working on it, and we have an outside search firm that we're paying to do the work for us, so we don't have to. So we can make the ultimate decision based on candidates that they're finding, and we'll make it, I think we're getting close, but I'm not sure we're there yet, in my opinion. Any other updates? No. Okay. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a couple of updates. First, from the police department. We have a new police officer in town. Her name is Gabrielle DeGroat. She graduated the Monmouth County Police Academy on June 2nd and started with the department on the 6th of June. The next one is the New Jersey Special Olympics Torch Run. So on Friday, June 10th, the HTPD participated in the New Jersey Special Olympics Torch Run. Homedell officers took the handoff of the torch at Route 35 and Palmer Ave and ran it down Route 35 to a Hazlitt officer waiting to accept the handoff at Miller Avenue. Additionally, Patrolman Michael Mikalski received the honor of being the officer who ran the torch into the stadium at the College of New Jersey on Friday afternoon. Number 3, Project Crash at Homedale High School. My daughter participated as well. So on Friday of last week, officers from HTPD and the Traffic Safety Unit assisted with Project Crash at Homedale High School. This event is presented to high school seniors each year just before prom to encourage them to drive safely and to avoid drinking under the influence. So it's a simulator. They wear glasses. You can't see much, and they go all over the place. So that's to simulate what happens, which was a positive thing for us. So first aid. These are reminders. So First Aid Squad wants us to remind the residents that 911 should not be used for routine, non-emergency situations and only for emergency situations. Calling 911 should be reserved for medical emergencies, which includes heart attacks, chest pain, head injuries, diabetes, and on and on. I don't want to go through the whole list. You know what they are. Please pull to the side of the road when you see a flashing blue and white lights on a vehicle behind you. Apparently, people are not stopping and letting go of emergency vehicles. First Aid Squad members are volunteers who drive to the ambulance building from their homes, jobs, or other locations. They're the ones with the blue lights. Pulling over and allowing a first aid volunteer to pass on their way to an emergency can ensure that they arrive safely in a timely manner to assist someone in need. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Committeewoman Weber.
Yep, I have a report from Recreation. The swim club, my favorite place in the whole world, is open. Membership levels are as high as they were last year. We still have a few spots left, so you can still join, but you better do it soon because they may max out. The swim team has over 200 participants, which I don't think we've had since my kids were little, so I'm thrilled about that. And I'm really happy to hear that Indian Hill School 4th, 5th, and 6th grade had field day at the swim club again. Always a highlight of the kids' experience. The club opens daily starting Friday, June 24th, and I know my friend Tony Brescia will be there every day. The tennis court renovation project will go out to bid in the next few weeks. Summer camp begins on Monday, June 27th, and there's opening in all the weeks there. There have been a few issues with the splash pad at Cross Farm, but they're working on repairing those, and we'll post it on the Facebook page when it's up and running. Cooking classes are underway. Senior summer barbecue will be Tuesday, July 5th at the Senior Community Center for free for everyone 62 and over. And the bocce courts at Ackerson Park have been cleaned up and repaired, and the shuffleboard courts have been cleaned up and relined as well. And last but not least, the TABS committee, in conjunction with the police department and Easy Ride, is hosting a second Safe Bike Safety Skills Clinic. Say that 3 times fast. This time Friday, June 24th, from 9 to 12:30 at the Red Lot at Bell Works. This is a free event for ages 5 and up, and you need to register in advance through the Recreation Department. I attended the last one we had, and it was absolutely fabulous to see the incredible progress the the children made in riding their bike and learning road safe skills. Do you all know how to do your hand signals for a right, left, and stop on your bicycle? Because I do, and I will quiz you later. So if you don't, come to that session. So that's my report from the Recreation Committee. And that will be my last report from the Recreation Committee, because now it is with mixed feelings that I share the news that I will be relocating from Homedell, and effective Friday, June 17th, will be resigning my position as an elected official. While my tenure as deputy mayor and township committeewoman has been a brief 2.5 years, it marks just another milestone in my 28 years of volunteer service to Homedell. I have always placed a priority on service, from my days as a PTA officer and fundraiser, to chairing the SOS team to pass the Indian Hill School referendum, to my Board of Ed position, to co-founding Preserve Homedale, and now to serving as elected township official. With that focus on service, I'd like to recap a few of the major accomplishments we've been able to achieve since I took office. Many of these were made possible by the incredible volunteers we have in this community, as well as our outstanding staff and police department. Change started at my very first meeting, when we approved publishing township committee agendas the Friday before meetings instead of what was often just a day or less prior. We also created the opportunity for public comment on agenda items prior to the vote on the consent of agenda. Both of these actions allowed greater community participation and transparency. We have also established and reinstated several volunteer committees and began holding active meetings for others, including the TABS Committee, the Finance Committee, the Recreation Committee, as well as others. No one could have anticipated the life-changing effect of the COVID pandemic on all of us, and I am very proud of our consistent and clear communication and outreach, particularly to our seniors, to providing assistance to them via our CERT teams to register for vaccinations, providing masks, hand sanitizers, and just supporting the community in every way we could. Even when all the county and state parks were closed, we kept our township parks open for residents to get fresh air and exercise. We opened the township swim club, which nobody thought we could pull off, despite many constraints, and held the first ever drive-boo for Halloween. On a more tactical level, we prioritized maintenance and renovation of neglected facilities. Specifically, we approved renovations for the police locker room, the swim club, town hall, and our parks, including receiving a grant for new play equipment at Alaco Park. And of course, we built the long overdue new firehouse. We have also made great progress with community volunteers, and I was happy to join them just a few weeks ago on restoring town cemeteries and working with the Daughters of the American Revolution, including the Slave Cemetery. And we are now working on repairs and renovations for the Laura Harding House. I am especially pleased with the work of the TABS Committee in establishing the bike pedestrian path, which will ultimately connect Homedale High School, Bell Works, Bayonet Farm, the Reminiscent Trail, and Cross Farm Park, which will also provide connectivity to our county parks on both ends, Homedale Park and Thompson Park as well. I also want to thank the TABS Committee and our police department for holding our first bike safety rodeo last month and another one later this month. I hope this great work continues with the passage of the Charter Study Commission in July, as this will allow an equal opportunity for all interested candidates and volunteers to run for office and for the voters to directly elect the mayor. I want to thank my family, and especially my husband, Gene, who has put up with me all my meetings, for their support. I will always have fond memories of Homedale and this community where I raised my family, and I look forward to hearing of continued progress in Homedale's growth and improvement. Thank you.
So, thank you, Committeewoman. I just have a few updates and special recognition. So, From an update perspective, we had a very successful Memorial Day ceremony here at Town Hall. I'd like to thank everyone who joined us and obviously those who worked so hard to put that event together, made it possible. We were happily joined by Lieutenant Joseph Pinzel, the chaplain at Naval Weapons Station Hill, provided the benediction for the ceremony. As I shared at the ceremony, on behalf of all the residents of Homedale, we offer sincere thanks and gratitude to all the members of the armed services who have made the ultimate sacrifice to our nation for our freedom. As a committee member referenced, there'll be a special election on July 26th. Mail-in ballots have been sent out as of Friday, and the drop box at the senior community center next door to us will be open and picked up daily by the County Board of Elections. On a very unique note, we're doing a General Tillelli Road dedication ceremony. On July 14th, Holmdel Township will be dedicating a section of Crawford's Corner Road in honor of General John Tillelli, who grew up here in Homedale. General Tillelli served as Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army, which is part of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Commanding General of the United States Army Forces Command, and Commander-in-Chief of the United Nations Command. After his retirement, he serves as President of the United States Organization. The dedication ceremony will be held Thursday, July 14th, 11 a.m., right here at the new firehouse station on Crawford's Corner. Members of the public are welcome and encouraged to attend. Homedale veterans are invited to attend our first Veterans Roundtable featuring General Tillelli immediately prior to the dedication ceremony that day. Veterans who want to attend the roundtable discussion should contact the administration department so we can provide information to you for this upcoming event. And as the committee woman just mentioned, at this time I'd like to recognize the committee woman Weber on her retirement from the Holmdel Township Committee. During her tenure, she served as deputy mayor twice and also as a liaison to the Recreation Department and the Traffic and Bike Safety Committee tabs. Kathy, we have a special proclamation that I'd like to present on behalf of the Holmdel Township Committee and also present you with the key to the Township of Homedale, so you know where we are.
Does that get me to the pool club?
You'll come as Tony's guest. So a special proclamation. Whereas Kathy Weber began her service to the Township of Homedale when she was first elected Township Committee on November 2019 and was sworn in January 2020. Whereas Ms. Weber also served as Deputy Mayor of the Township of Homedale for the years 2020 and 2021. Whereas during her time in office, Ms. Weber served as liaison to the Recreation Committee, was a proud supporter and champion for all the Homedale Swim Club, the Homedale Summer Camp Program, and all the recreation-sponsored events and activities. Whereas Ms. Weber served as liaison to Traffic and Bike Safety Tabs Committee, where she helped bring up the new multi-use trail project, which would eventually connect Homedale's walking and bike paths throughout the township. Whereas Ms. Weber's passion, integrity, and dedication to the Township of Homedale and its citizens have made her a role model public servant. Whereas all residents, cyclists, and patrons of Homedale have benefited from Ms. Weber's generous service to the township. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Homedale Township Committee, I, Gregory Bontempo, Mayor of the Township of Homedale, do hereby proclaim that sincere thanks be given to Kathy Weber for her years of service to the township. You further proclaim that the Township Committee, professional staff, township employees, and residents bid a fond farewell to Committeewoman Weber and wish her good health, happiness, and success in all her future endeavors. Proclaimed this 14th day of June, 2022. Congratulations, Kathy. You in the front? Let's come up in the front. Yeah, absolutely. You guys, welcome. So we'll roll into public comment. Wendy? Okay, yeah, sorry. 1 second.
I just want to make a short comment. I want to say to Committeewoman Weber, I have to get that straight. It's been an honor and a privilege to not only be a running mate, but to serve with you. You've set an example of what public service should be. I don't know if residents know this. No vested interests, no agendas, no taking money from developers, nothing. It was all about serving the people of Homedale. We're really sad. I'm really sad that Homedale's losing you, but hopefully, given the trail you've blazed, more people will learn from this, and whoever sits on the committee will aspire to do the same. So that's extremely important. And I really wish you well. Hopefully, wherever you're going, you'll become a mayor and invite us to join the committee and clean up. And more importantly, I want to say, in this day and age, in the kind of politics we see, it's important people like Kathy join and make improvements to our, not only municipalities and our country as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just going to say the same thing. So I just want to wish you the best, Kathy. Your grandchildren, I know, are the most important thing in your life right now, and they should be. And I hope you have the time and the opportunity to see them grow and shine. And I just want to say that in the short term that I've been here with you, I know we've never maybe seen eye to eye, but we always had
Never, just sometimes.
sometimes. But I can honestly say that we've had probably a lot more conversations than people would believe. And again, they were always, we might not have agreed, but they were always very respectful. And I always knew I could call you, and vice versa. And it was nice to have that communication with you. And I do appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Statement for the public comment?
Members of the public are invited to provide comments up to 3 minutes in duration. Commenters are asked to state his or her full name and address for the record before entering comments. As a reminder, public meetings are live streamed on Facebook and YouTube and are subject to Open Public Records Act.
Thank you. Anybody from the public like to come up? Come on. State your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Foster, 4 Iron Hill Drive in town. I had a couple quick comments just before I got to my question. First and foremost, the Special Olympics, that was awesome. I got to see Mike running into the opening ceremonies. I've been volunteering there for 13 years. My entire family was out there all weekend. Little bit of rain Sunday, but it was back at TCNJ, which is awesome. We had over 800 athletes in just track alone. So it was awesome to see the athletes get back out and compete. It's really nice to see our department involved in that. Second comment, Kathy, thank you very much for everything. That was quite the impressive resume. Town will miss you. I wish more people got involved and volunteered and put their hats, quote unquote, in the ring with all these things. So much luck going forward, and thank you for everything. And then my question is just, in terms of zoning board, planning board, the other boards that we have in town that people get appointed to, either not asked to come back to, how does that process work exactly? Is that one person's decision alone? And then if this charter does pass, is there any changes coming to that as well?
Is that all your questions? Is that
I'm
all
done.
your questions?
I'm
All right,
finished,
you
yeah.
have a seat, and then I'll have the attorney answer.
Excellent, thank you.
Sure. Through you, Mayor. Under the municipal land use law, the mayor has a direct appointment authority over the planning board and the zoning board. However, that's actually in all forms of government, with the exception of the recommended form of government, which actually divests the mayor of that power, and the governing body, by resolution, would appoint members of the planning board and the zoning board. So the mayor, in effect, has less power under the proposed form of government than this one, which is a unique creature of council manager. Otherwise, in all other forms of government, the mayor has that power typically.
Good, thank you. Anybody else in public?
Good evening. Lance Loopy, 542A Line Road. So first, in response to some commentary and some discussions with some of the...
Please direct it to me, so the mic
Yep,
won't
sorry.
pick you up.
Some of the people in the room, conversations. I'm not saying that this charter commission no is the right answer? Yes, may be the right answer. But the way that it was handled, in my opinion, was not done well. I read through this thing last night. Mr. Bupolino made a comment that it's 68 pages. Really not 68 pages, a lot of fluff in there. There's a lot of CVs, what questions we asked for people, but there's a lot of unanswered questions. How many, does anyone on the dais here know how many voters there are in the town of Homedale? Registered voters? Any idea, guess?
13,000, 13,500.
Okay, it's pretty close, right? As of 2020, 13,423. So in reading this document, all 60 plus pages of it, there's a comment in one of the meetings. I attended one of the meetings. First of all, when people did make comments, some of them that were against it seemed to be not treated respectfully, which I was not happy about. But there's a comment here where there's a boast about how 40 people attended one meeting, or over 30, so let's call it 39, and 14 had comments. Do we know how many 39 people out of the 14,000 registered voters is? 0.002. People that made comments, 14.0.001. I'm unsure why we're having this in July when people are on vacation. I'm unsure what happens. So there were some questions about hiring a new personnel member. What happens to that job? What happens to all these councils? Shade Tree Commission, Zoning Board. They're all gone on January 1st of 2023? Can anyone answer that question?
Go through all your questions. I don't want to, because you're on a time, so.
Okay.
You can get everything in.
Okay. There was a comment about salaries for the people. Provided that was you online, you made a comment that through this initiative and referendum, people can change that. But no answer to the question of what are the salaries of these people, the new council members and mayor, right? There's no information about that in this document. There's no information about what it takes to have an initiative. How many people is it? I heard comment that maybe it was 15%. It's not in this document. Shouldn't it be in this document? There's a lot missing in this. So my comment is you vote no. And if this is such a great thing, in 4 years we can re-examine it over the next 4 years, and everyone can have their opportunity to vote yes if they think that's the best.
I'll try to answer some of the questions. Can you touch on the planning and zoning?
My comment earlier, to Mr. Foster's question, there's some nuance in the specific seats on the planning board, but suffice it to say, under the proposed, I just want to backtrack to the former question. There's some nuance, but the appointment is a different system rather than the current system where the mayor has that power for the class 4 seats as well as the zoning board seats. And the zoning board's handled slightly differently because that's by ordinance. But there are some differences to the point that was raised. And if there's any further question, I'm happy to answer that.
Yeah.
But I was answering the prior gentleman's question.
Yeah.
And because I was looking at that, I may not have caught your question, so I'm happy to answer it if the mayor can.
So he was asking if this takes place, what happens in January when are we appointing, are the new elected officials appointing new planning and zoning board members, or are the people that are in seat with current terms, will they carry over into the new?
I'd have to look at the specific board in question. There are specific provisions in the Faulkner Act that govern which officials stay and which officials are subject to the new government. And if the committee would like, I'd be happy to research that and kind of provide a delineation on that.
That's fine. No, I can't. Let me answer some of your other questions. Oh, no, please, excuse, I'm not, you had 3 minutes. So on your other question on salaries, there's no change in salaries. In fact, I think there is a rumor or a lie going around about the mayor getting a $100,000 a salary. So this township committee right now could make a motion and second and vote to change the salaries right now, right? Unanimously, if the 5 agreed they could change it right now. So the form of government doesn't mean anything, nor does it mean that there's any salaries, nor is there ever any, from my understanding, any discussion on that. So, the fear tactics is that I think what is important, and I think Mr. Foster's question was right, is that if this goes through, whoever the mayor is going to have less power than they have today, because the mayor today can appoint planning and zoning board members, as he pointed out. Going forward, it's going to be unanimous committee, and if there's 5 people up here, 3 of the 5, or the majority of whoever is at a meeting, would have to acknowledge it. On your question on the initiative referendum, I think that was a unique safeguard, because if in fact that it's 5 different people up here next year, let's say it goes through and there's 5 different people up here, and the 5 people decide that they're going to do something that the town doesn't like or doesn't want, give themselves salaries, give themselves benefits, do something that shouldn't happen, the public can initiate that process and remove it and eliminate it, and by following the process. Now, no, I'm not.
Please,
Out of order.
please
Don't.
don't.
Answer question. Everyone has 3 minutes. Let me just finish. When you talk about attendance, the committee tries to do things like we did tonight to drive more attendance at our meetings. So you talk about attendance at the charter study meeting, and I never counted, and nor did I attend, other than when I presented the one time. But you could see that our regular township committee meetings have about a dozen and a half people on an average of a town that has about 18,000 residents. So I'm 0.00001%. I get it. But people in this town, what I found, like to be communicated upon with messages that we send out from our public information officer or newsletters or our website. So we try to do a lot to engage the community, because we know people have busy schedules and they have whatever, but they want to know what's going on. So we try proactively. So having that attendance at that isn't really a surprise to me, because our meetings are generally, this is a fairly typical meeting. I think I covered everything.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I just want to,
Go ahead.
through you, Mayor, it's not a non-answer to the point about the boards and committees. There's a lot of nuances in these laws, and so, I'm happy on the fly to give a general answer, but, if people are looking for specifics, that obviously is not, this isn't the forum to be able to provide, the gentleman's laughing, but to the point I'm about to make, with respect to officers, the relevant statute is 4069A-207, and that provides that the terms of all elected and appointed officers immediately cease at the start of a new government, with the exception of a whole bunch of offices that are set forth in the law. So the law contains the relevant provisions if a new form of government under Faulkner Act was implemented, and it's just a question of those provisions being carried out. And the reason I didn't provide a direct response is because there are several types of positions that the statute exempts, but that is the general premise, that the new government would come in and have the power to govern anew.
So we're talking about a full reset then, Mike, across the board? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not going to get into the politics of the characterization, but the statute says that the terms of all elected and appointed officers shall cease, and then the new government takes effect.
Yeah, I don't mean it politically. I just mean people need to know the entire
Sure,
government
yeah.
resets, right?
Just like
that's-
we reorganize every January, that would be an even further reorganization.
Right, well,
because-
look, and not to get into semantics, right, but there are some people that have terms of 3, 4 years, whatever they may be currently on these other boards, right? Those would cease, and we'd start over again. In most cases, it sounds like. So it's not, to call it a reorg on steroids is probably even light compared to what we'd be talking about here.
I'll leave it to the electeds to make the characterizations, but I know that's what the statute says, and I understand your point.
Yeah, but there should be a provision.
You're not on.
Oh, I'm not on.
It didn't sound it.
There should be a provision for continuity of government, which means that anytime you wipe out, you do a reset, as Committeeman Improviduto says, there should be X number of officers designated, whoever they are, that would provide provide the continuity that's necessary on any of these planning boards and zoning boards, simply because there's some task at hand that they have knowledge of, and it's important to ensure that continuity is kept alive. So I'm sure, Counselor, you can explain that at the next meeting or in some fashion.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that, you know, no matter what 5 are going to be sworn in, they're going to work with during their elected period, whether pre-elected, the existing members of the planning, zoning, tabs committee, et cetera, to see who wants to remain on the committee and who wants, because no one's looking to do a hard reset, and you're just you're redoing your appointments over, because we have some very, as the committee woman's leaving us tonight, she served on multiple committees, multiple volunteers. We have very good volunteers in this community. That's what makes this community great. From, I said it more time, from fire and first aid to planning and zoning and every other committee we have going on, finance and recreation, and that's what makes this community great, because people volunteer their time. As these positions up here are volunteer. The time that this committee puts in is numerous, and volunteer because we're trying to do what's best for the town, try to make the right decisions for the town. So,
And just if I may, Mayor Bontempo and I do disagree on this, has been well documented many times over. My opinion differs from his in the simple sense that if we don't like what we're doing, that's what elections are for. And there's township elections every single year in this town. And so the opportunity to change the composition of the township committee occurs every single year, which is why one of the reasons I stand against this. We differ in opinion, doesn't mean the government can't function, doesn't mean the government's dysfunctional necessarily. It doesn't mean, you know, although I think there are things that can be run better. But I think this is a very severe effort, a very severe act to fix something that's not broken.
We differ. It's a rigged system that you benefit from.
A rigged system I benefit from.
Yes.
You know, I have to ask you a question then, Mayor. In your flyer, in support of this, you talk about political dysfunction.
Listen, let's just stay on with the.
Well, he told me I benefit from a rigged system. How do I benefit from a rigged system? I outworked my competitors, right? That's what I did.
Look at
just as you have,
look at
by the way.
historically what's happened.
Historically,
yeah.
How did you get here?
I was a member, and now I'm not.
You were what? I'm sorry.
I was part of it, now I'm not. It's
so you're not. I mean, so
It can't be a rigged system if you got elected.
It's very difficult for the average person to get involved and get elected. That aren't on the line.
We're sitting up here with 2 independents and 1 independent Republican, if I'm not mistaken. That doesn't sound like a rigged system to me. It sounds like people were able to run and work hard to their credit and get on here.
Hold on.
Not public.
Hold on. Let's not continue this. We can continue this after the, hold on. I'm happy to continue this after the meeting. I don't know if is this the right place to have a debate? Yeah, yes. So.
Well, when you make a comment that we differ, I was answering the public question, not getting into debate on whether we agree or disagree, whether you and I agree or disagree with it. That was not needed.
Well, it was, because there's one point of view which is yours and another one which is mine.
It wasn't
and the
needed
gentleman
in this
had
meeting.
questions
Wasn't needed
answered.
in this form. It wasn't needed.
How could it not be needed? It's a public forum.
It's for the public right now.
And we were answering his question. We were just
All right.
answering it differently.
Can we just stop, please?
Okay. Who's next from the public?
Can we stop,
Listen back.
please? Thank you.
Jerry Buffalino, 20 Barbera Drive. It is a rigged system, Rocco, and you know it. No, not just because I'm saying it. A federal judge has just approved litigation in the federal courts against 5 northern counties in New Jersey over this issue. And there's more than one plaintiff, because the whole state has a corrupt election system because of the line, okay? I didn't know any of this until I participated in the Charter Study Commission, because it's hidden from the vision of all the residents in this state. It really is hidden. When you find out, in all of this, we had people come and testify in front of us that were experts in this, and you're laughing, I know. Yeah, because you know everything too, right?
DJ,
But-
let him talk.
but
He's got 3 minutes.
When you hear something like, no incumbent has run for election in the state of New Jersey that's been on the line, has lost an election in the last 50 years, you start to have to doubt the system a little bit, don't you? And the authenticity of this system and how fair it is. If you run on the line in a primary, you're going to win. There's no sense of even having a primary for an election because of that reason. Because your opponents are in column 5 or 7. No one even knows they exist. That's the problem here. So you may not want to admit to this because you guys were beneficiaries. Anybody who's been on the line has been a beneficiary of this for years here. But we're the only state in the country that does it this way. That tells you something else, doesn't it? The only state that doesn't put the ballots and the people together in the offices they're running against versus one line where everybody benefits from that one line position. That's what made me the most anxious about this. That's the most controversial thing here, isn't it? It's not about electing the mayor directly or about petition and referendum. It's about nonpartisan elections because this destroys the ability of people to control who sits on our council.
I actually don't agree. I think the initiative
Let him-
referendum was
let
the most
him-
controversial.
let him-
One person makes
He's
the
got time.
decision as to
He's
who
got
gets
3
in that
minutes.
column.
He's got 3
And that
minutes.
one person doesn't live in our town. Okay? One person makes the decision as to who gets on the line for the municipal elections. And that person doesn't even live in our town. So whoever's making that decision, which we all know who that is deciding who sits up here. No, it's not a lottery. Not if you have a number of positions available on the ballot, okay? I think my 3 minutes are up probably. I'm sorry, but this is what really caused me to join this commission and get involved in it, because to me, the corruption has to end at some point, guys. It really does.
Look, we disagree on this, and I want to be very clear that, you know, my perspective is what I think is best for our community. There's nothing. I've never once, by the way, whether I was campaigning or sitting up here, never once talked about politics, republicanism, anything in relation to that. I've talked about our community, our town, the town that I left school from, the town that I came back to, and the town that I'm raising my family in. Right. So we disagree on this, and it's okay because there's probably other things that we'll agree upon. But where I get twitchy, right, is twofold. One, the thought that someone can't win off the line, as Mayor Bontempo won sitting in column 7, right? And the other is that if it's such a thing, then let the federal court decide, and then we'll make the change, right? If that's what the law says, if that's what's going to happen, then so be it. You know, this is an initiated change, something that we enacted that I just frankly don't think is of Homedell, right? I think it's a downgrade of Homedell when you look at, and again, the nonpartisan thing, I got to be honest with you, and I've said it many times before, that's the least of it for me. It really is. I think there's incredible volatility that comes with the initiative and referendum component. I think the ability to undo ordinances, town laws, and regulations is very disruptive at best. I think if you don't like what someone does, you can vote them out. I think that, you know, that very simple component can actually cause, you know, it's our job up here to look at the town as a whole and make the best decisions we can, right? That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to scope issues, size them, commit budget to them, and fix them. Somebody can undo that with 200 signatures and getting it on the ballot, right? And they don't have the scope and the purview and the view of the town as a whole. They have understandably, they have a more myopic view, right? It's NIMBY, it's not in my backyard kind of stuff. And I get it, you're a taxpayer, you're supposed to care about yourself and your neighborhood and your family. So, you know, I don't subscribe to the political nature of this because I've never talked about politics in relation to this. I've talked very specifically about what I think it means to our town. So you have your opinion, I have mine, Mayor Bontempo has his. I think the evidence and the facts and the data, frankly, show that this is not of Homedell and not worth and not for Homedell. That's my opinion, and that's based on the information that I have.
Yep. Can I make a comment? Just to clarify a couple of points. The initiative and referendum, there's been a lot of myths about this, saying that it causes a lot of chaos and or volatility. Today, right now, we have an initiative and referendum capability for a bond ordinance and for salary increases. It hasn't caused confusion or chaos or volatility. so far. What we're doing is extending that right that residents have for bond ordinances and salary increases to all aspects of township affair. And that's important to know. Okay, so the next question is, okay, if that's the case, anything that township does could potentially be up for dispute and could change because we could collect 200 signatures. The answer to that is it's built into the law. It's been tested and proven. You need 10% of signatures to come up with from the previous election, the number of voters from the previous election. You need 10% to be able to get a petition going. If 10% of 16,000 people signed up for a petition, that's worth it. I think that is...
16,000 people don't come to vote.
I'm sorry, 13,000 voters that you said.
Well, no. How many people vote in the election is your point.
The previous election.
Right, so if 2,000 people vote, you need 200 signatures.
Rocco, you got 3,500 votes, if I remember right.
42.
Okay, so it's at least 400 votes. It's 400 signatures. And your opponent got another 1,600 or
25.
25. So add that up. So that's 8,000 people. So you need at least 800 to 1,000 signatures.
That was a gubernatorial election. So if you look at elections
So-
in state
so my
legislatures,
point
the
is-
turnout's materially lower.
Rocco, let him speak.
My point is, it's not an easy thing to do. That's number one. Number two, today we are dependent on the right people being on the committee to do the right thing. Tomorrow, we have checks and balances that's built in systemically. We need that. We need the committee to be afraid of people showing up and capable of launching petitions to do the right thing. And that's an important fact that people don't understand. The power, the fear of being opposed by a petition is enough to get these people here to do the right thing. Systemic, the ability to provide checks and balances systemically is much better than relying on the right people to do the right thing. Thank you.
Yes.
Jay Yanello, 18 Ladwood Drive. Rocco, I agree with some of what you say, but respectfully, you've benefited from the current system. Your dad benefited from the current system. It's been a very well-entrenched system. The power of the line. The power of the line is from an organization that who I know firsthand. Some people wanted to run. They wouldn't even allow them come into the meetings. No, we have our people. I think by breaking the power of the line, it will benefit this town greatly. We can have some new blood in here. We can have a much more open system. You mentioned we have a precedent when Mr. Santana and Mr. Weber got on. That was a scandalous year with a really bad situation with the mayor who ultimately got censured. And to show you this organization and these people that build up the line, to show you how they don't really care what's going on in Homedale. They went to rerun someone when there was a big public scandal about them and facts in the press. They ran them again. They didn't care. You know why they didn't care? Because they knew the power of the line. You know what they're doing now? From what I understand, I don't know. They're taking direct relatives from one of the most disgraced politicians in this town, and they put them on the group that sets the line. You know why they did it? Because they don't care. They don't care. So it's the power of the line that needs to be broken, and it should. And Ms. Weber, thank you so much for all of your time, energy, passion, and heart for this town. I've known you for maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years. You're one of the biggest assets this town has ever had. We haven't agreed on a lot. We've got into arguments on it a lot. We've had some long phone calls. I respect DJ comments. Your phone line is always open. This is a big loss, as Mr. Santana said. We will miss you, and I could only hope, I know you're very big into women and girls' efforts. I can only hope that what you've shown as a woman in this town will spread to some of the girls and other women in this town, and they can move forward to be like you. And Jean, thank you so much, because I've been at meetings, I've been at things. Jean seems to be a very patient husband. So, thank you so much.
Jay,
Yeah.
welcome back. It's good to see you up and around and involved again.
Thank you.
We're all very happy
Thank
that you're
you.
here, even though I know you're going to be breaking my chops. Well, at least the next few months. If this thing flips and I lose, I'll be out anyway.
But Rocco, if I were you, I would like the existing situation too. And I think you do make some good points. And your dad worked a lot for this town. So I wouldn't want change either if I was in Impreviduto. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't.
Well, listen, it's diminishing a little bit. I worked pretty hard to get up here. And my dad worked pretty hard for the town. He lost his first election, by the way, to Larry Fink.
That was even before my time. And DJ, you've been an icon in this town and your family. I'm over time. I'll end it. And so, I get your
If not,
passion.
end it. Cut it.
I get your passion. I just wish you guys. Final thing. I just wish you guys can appreciate the time and energy some of us lay people have had to put in over the past decade to just do what's the best for this town. And it's because of that we're so impassioned to break that power of the line. And I hope if it changes, if you guys get back on, more power to you. But I think it needs to be a fair game. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay, if I can just make one comment, and thank you. And I'm not going to make you sit down like the mayor does. You can stand right there. One comment I want to make is that, again, there's a lot of opinions being thrown around tonight, and I get the whole line thing. But I don't think it's right or fair to diminish the people who were on the line. It's almost like we're talking that because we were on the line that like we're bad candidates. So let me finish. And we have two fantastic candidates sitting right behind you that are going to do the right thing for this town. So for every person that you might be defending that doesn't get on the line, well, I'll show you one that deserves to get elected or have that opportunity. So it's basically the same process in two different divisions, okay? And at the end of the day, if this thing passes, you will have people in this town who act like a party boss and who pull people together and who run them as a group and endorse them. And so it's really not any different. But so at the end of the day, all I'm saying is please don't diminish the people, the hard work that Rocco and I have put in, and hopefully people in the future, because we're trying to do the right thing for this town, and we're not part of some criminal enterprise, okay? So, I would just leave it at that. So.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I was not attempting to diminish any of you, and I would expect you guys to win if there was a yes anyhow.
Anybody else in the public? Yes.
Good afternoon, or good evening, folks. Kim LaMountain, 26 Grandview Drive. Just to address some of these comments about being part of the line, having ties. I happen to be running on the line at this point. I don't have ties to anyone. I don't have a relationship with Rocco. I don't have a relationship with DJ. I don't have a relationship with Greg. I put my name out there because I love Homedale. I've been here for close to 20 years, have been involved in all sorts of activities, from coaching to planning board to the church. And I'm doing it because I believe in Homedale. So there are people that come forward and do this, not because of some relationship in the party, but because they want to make Homedale better. So I hope that the community of Homedale realizes that there are good people out there, and that Brian and I are both out there for the right reasons, and not because we have some relationship with someone else in politics, because I know I don't. My question to you folks is, when are the voters for the special election going to be told who's going to be removed from these different committees that we have? Planning board, zoning board, the other committees, who's going to be staying and who's going to be removed, because that's going to make a difference in the ongoing projects. And I'm going to tell you, I was on planning board, I think it was 8 years. A couple of days before the reorg, as vice chair of the planning board, I get an email that says, thank you for your service, but you're no longer needed. So that's one of the reasons why I want to run, because I don't want anybody from this community to volunteer their time and get a darn email after 8 years of being there for each and every meeting and putting their heart and soul into something. And that's something that's got to change in Homedale. Very important that the voters know what's going to change and what isn't, because I haven't heard or seen that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Committee. I just wanted to know.
Just state your name and address, I'm sorry.
I'm Joe Tetra from 280 Middle Road.
I should recognize you by now,
If
Joe.
there's any update on Middle Road, what's going on, if any progress has been made? And now that I'm just listening to all this, if things change, am I gonna have to go through all this again with a new committee? And it's gonna be all new people, just like I had to do in the past. I've been doing this for years, over 10, 12 years, you know?
Yeah.
I'd just like to know if anything is being done.
Yeah, so our engineer's not here tonight, but if you can just follow up with me in an email, just email me at Mayor at Holmdel Township, I can get an update for you. I know there's working on it. I just don't know how far along they are, Joe, in the process, but your area is one of the main reasons why the committee embarked on the stormwater management plan, because we need to do something for this Homedale overall, so your area doesn't get worse and other areas don't start becoming bad. And we're trying to see what we can do to remedy that. So we hired Colliers they're doing the program. It is a multi-month process. I can tell you that right now. So I know we're not going to get an answer from them in the near future, but I'm hoping that sometime this year, probably the latter part of the year, we'll have something. And that's done, that's baked in. No matter who's up here, that's going to continue to go through, because that's funded and approved. And Bill, Wendy, the team is always going to be here if the five of us just happen not to be here at that time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Anybody else in the public? Seeing none, I will close public comment. I want to wish everyone a good night. Thank you for coming out, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care, everybody.